Today I'm joined by Ryan Caracciolo, founder and president of Striventa, an Arizona-based business growth agency that has helped healthcare and legal brands scale through transparent, measurable marketing and flywheel-based growth systems. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Oh, what an intro. Thanks, Chris. You're too kind.
No problem, no problem. Sorry for messing up the first one. So, just swinging right out the gate here for agency founders that have already past that $1 million mark, right? The big seven-figure mark. When you were scaling Strivent, what was one of the biggest growth levers that made the difference for you?
Wow, that's a great question. Certainly, growing a business is very tough, right? I think there's a lot of blocking and tackling, a lot of the consistency day in and day out that it requires. And there's not a whole lot of wins that come from it right away. It's not instant gratification. I think for us, solving the people issue, right? Understanding who is a good fit in the agency world versus who just really enjoys doing marketing tactics or sales tactics. And then conversely, on the other end, really understanding who our best clients are because I just wanted to serve. I just wanted to help. I think business growth is something that people are always have a hard time doing, not just to grow a company, but to scale it. And so we started off just wanting to be a resource in that. I just wanted to help people. I'd sit across business owners where they're crying because they can't make payroll and they're a small business trying to get over the hump, or the larger entities that are multi-state, multi-office, are looking to scale and hit that next threshold to 15 mil. And that requires so much content and process and consistency. And so for us, it was also understanding you can't help everybody. I don't think I meant to have this hero complex, but I think I just wanted to help everybody. And then in hindsight, I'm like, okay, we're not a good fit on both sides of the equation, understanding our best customer for Striventa as it relates to being a partner versus, and then the other end is internally, who are some of the best employees and what does that team look like?
Interesting. And I know before we jumped on, you mentioned that you came into this with the idea of merging sales and marketing and what that looks like and KPIs and responsibilities of either or. And I feel like this is in the agency space, in the business space in general, there's such a tug of war between these two departments.
Yeah.
Um, how do you think of that dynamic?
Yeah, that's a dynamic where routinely we always say it's marketing with sales, not marketing against sales, and vice versa. Before Striventa, I was in sales day to day. I was the guy driving around. I had a company car and a salary out of the gate of college, and I thought I was making it, right? They were so great to me. The employer was awesome, boss was awesome, but there I am driving around a Versa, doing day trips down to Tucson, which from us is 2 hours a day, 2 hour one way drives, and just grinding it out as a sales guy, right? Referral marketing. And then, so understanding that perspective of what that really takes, building relationships, getting turned down day in and day out, getting those wins day in and day out. And then the marketing world, starting the agency and still being very competitive, but understanding like a great lead versus a not so great lead. Everybody plays a part in it. And so that's why we say marketing with sales, because you can't just have a sales team look at marketing and go, your leads suck. Chances are, and especially in today's day and age, you can get very specific on the types of levers and the types of growth models on the marketing end that you can build. And so more often than not, it's also on the sales team's responsibility to make sure they're closers, right? I think I was used to prospecting. That's not the thing as much anymore. You still have a lot of people that enjoy prospecting, but mostly it's inbound leads if you build marketing correct. And so a lot of sales teams have great leads coming in, right? And so now it's what do we do with them? How do we nurture them? And so it's just a mixed bag. It's everybody plays a role in it. Everybody's got responsibility in it. It's being transparent about that, having that conversation to say, hey guys, like it's not Striventa versus you. I don't want your job, sales director of client that we're working with at all. We're here to be a partner. And equally, though, I need you to be honest. If you're not hitting your numbers or if there's a roadblock, that's why we offer like sales enablement too services. Hey, let's help you build some automation campaigns. Let's give you some materials. Let's design up some stuff for you to be successful with because it's a both and. We can't just make the phone ring infinitely. We can with the right money, but it's going to come down to your reputation, especially in the industries we're in. It's people driven, right? Healthcare, services, business service, legal service. Like this is all in the people business, assisted living, right? And so if you're not working those leads appropriate to build relationship on the sales end, you can't be surprised if the leads start to go down as well. It all relates, right? It's all holistic. And you just have to have people that check the egos at the door and want to be about the greater good and pushing in that excellence together.
That makes sense. Thanks for sharing. And it also brought up a thought around you, Ryan, having sales experience. Like a lot of marketing agencies that I've spoken with, they don't have the sales experience. They're marketing data geeks. They love that piece, but then to get in front and to offer their services to clients. For you, how much of a component of your success has your previous sales experience been inside of your agency?
Oh, yeah, it's monumental. We're at a place now where we enjoy listening to calls coming in to spot check and to listen to make sure the lead quality is there, but also to make sure that calls are getting worked appropriately. And so I didn't realize it at the time, but that was really the linchpin to our success with the partner program. Is not just dialing in the model around like generating the right types of leads and building online authority and all these things, but it was really the ability to connect the dots and understand, hey, this call came in and went to the front desk or went to the office manager and they're managing an office of a practice. They don't have sales training or they're not hungry like a salesperson is. They're trying to manage an office, right? How do we have that conversation with the owner? Because you're paying for these leads. And so every call matters, every form fill matters. Now, again, I get that there's always going to be unqualifieds in that. You have to adjust campaigns. But the reality is, most people just focus on the volume, not the quality. And because we're involved in on the sales end or the intake end, I think we're able to have more of a quality pitch, if you will. And in turn, like that's a better process because instead of having somebody go through 100 calls a day and they're burnt out, I'd rather have them go through 50 calls a day. They're qualified. And I know it's cliche and I know it's, oh, that's utopia. No, it can happen. Like you just got to be specific, right? Yeah. So my experience in the sales end, I didn't realize it at the time of starting an agency. I thought, okay, it's good experience, but really going full funnel to full pipeline, right? The marketing funnel, tracking all of that down into the sales pipeline, start to finish, closed won, closed lost. Like that whole holistic process has allowed us to partner with our clients. That's what we call them partners because it is a partnership and we need to be involved every step of the way. And that has created less of a dichotomy around, oh, you're just a vendor. Here's my keyword report. But we're actually able to put into context what these ranking keywords mean and what it means in terms of calls and quality and what it means in terms of business revenue. And that's powerful. That's an end to end powerful system, but it requires a good partner on the other end, which again was our refining process to understanding who our best clients were. But yeah, yeah, it definitely played a role for sure.
It sounds like, and what about for your own client acquisition inside of your agency?
Oh
I can totally
yeah.
see how helping your clients sell
Yeah.
enablement, but what about internally as well?
Yeah, right now I'm the one doing sales for Stripe because at the end of the day, it's a business growth program, right? We're not out there just pitching like an SEO service for a finite amount per month or an ad management service. Like we really desire to be a partner in business growth. And so it made us more of a boutique agency, less volume, but also like that scoping process of what it takes to actually scope out a proposal, the first 90 days of any onboarding. Like I'm heavily involved in all of that and then it rolls off to the team. It rolls off to our VP and our content manager, et cetera, right? But yeah, it's much more of a comprehensive process, and I know it's a risk. Like any business has a risk, right? You can either be volume driven with low ticket items that you're selling, or you can be less volume driven but more high quality driven in terms of investment structure and model. So everything has a trade off, but yeah, it's definitely contributed to success on our end with the agency side and acquiring the right types of clients. But I will say it took me a lot longer than I realized like who the ideal customer was. It's like, oh, you want to grow your business? Sure, we'll sign you up. Come on, let's go. Yeah, and I'm an optimist by nature, if you can't tell, and I'm an entrepreneur, so that's like a deadly combo unless I have some balancing point to it. And so my business partner was always iron sharpening iron. He came to the table with four companies. That's how we started. He's like, hey, if you want to jumpstart, I've been following you, I've been tracking you. Like he was my best friend's uncle, right? I always knew him as Uncle John, but he's also kind of prolific business guy. And the first couple of years were not a typical agency. I'd give him reports. I'd be so excited. Hey, check out what we're doing. And he would look at me and say, my revenue didn't move though, Ryan. Like the revenue never moved. This doesn't mean anything to me. And still to this day, we have the joke, like I'm all about the steak, not about the sizzle. I can't eat sizzle. And so I think uniquely, I was blessed to have certain partners and certain mentors along the way like this that helped me. I still made plenty of mistakes, don't get me wrong, but avoid monumental ones that would affect our clients and business in radically terrible ways. So I feel blessed in that regard, right? To be surrounded by that core, that family.
That's awesome. I think having that set of structure, leadership, guidance combined with the creativity and like the hunger that you were bringing, I'm sure that was it was like a really cool dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah, my promise was always like, "I can outwork you and I can outsuffer you. I know I can do that." And if you look at yeah, I didn't know at the time, right? Yeah, his stuff is awesome. I love it, but I had hair when I started an agency. Like, I know I can outwork you. I know I can outsuffer you. And that was always the deal is somebody asked me, "Do you have a secret sauce?" I'm like, "No, there's no secret sauce outside of great execution, critical thought, but it's also that ability to just be tenacious and not stop." Most people want to answer an email on a Saturday. To me, that's a timeline. That's a deadline. That's a if I can turn this around quickly and it takes me 2 minutes, like, why not? And then doesn't drag on during the week. So it's every little thing contributes. But yeah, that was always I think I don't know if I meant to mention this, but that's where it always came from, like, growing up, like, in school. Like, I was always getting straight A's, right? And so my teachers tested me for the gifted program, and I always failed the test. I was like, "This is terrible." And they all sat me around. They're like, "Ryan, we know what the problem is." This was 8th grade. "It's what?" Like, "You're not that smart. You just outwork everybody in class to get those A's. What do you do as an 8th grader when they tell you that?" And I was like, "I know." Like, I'm looking around, literally all my 8th grade teachers, I'm looking around in a circle, I'm just flabbergasted. Okay, put me in that class. And I'll tell you, I got an A in that class, but I never wanted to work in that class again. I had to work so hard. Yeah, but it was like that moment. It was like, okay, if I can outwork, if I can outsuffer, success will come. It won't come in a month or 2 months, but a year down the road, 2 years down the road, failing forward, as they say, is a powerful concept and a great learning tool.
This segues very well into something that you mentioned earlier before we jumped on around achieving success and the sacrifice and some of the painful moments that you have to go through in order to get to where you're at today. What are some, what's one of those stories that comes to mind?
Oh gosh, I too many to count. I don't know. It's like when you first start out, I talked to my wife, prayed about it. Let's start an agency, okay? And the first couple of years, it was just this haze of work, long hours at the office till 10 p.m., back at it at 6 a.m. It's drive home. And she's a saint. Like, we committed to this. And like every morning, she's like, "Hey, your lunch is on the counter, coffee's on the counter. Have a great day." And just let me go to work. I was like, man, what a blessing that was because so many mistakes could have been made in that, right? But without having that support. But I still made a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of still painful moments. But I can remember one time we had a big contract for us at the time. It was early on. And we did a huge video shoot, like production, rented out like a hotel room at the top suite. This was like for a massive builder, new home builder. And they decided not to pay us. We did the video. Yeah, this is the 101 learning experience of how to set up a successful contract, right? I love people. I always expect the best in everybody, and I never thought this would happen. But we're talking like a $30,000 contract, and they didn't pay the final amount, right? I think we billed like a third, and they didn't pay the final amount. We took a deposit, didn't pay the final amount, and it was a hard conversation where with my business partner. This was a conversation that I'd never had to have before. It was a moment where I messed up on the contracting end and not protect us because I was just so focused on the deliverables and making sure the client was getting what they wanted. But at the end of the day, he asked me a really insightful question. He said, "Would you have paid the rest of that contract for what we delivered quality wise?" He didn't even ask about the finances. And I sat back and I said, "Well, I mean, we hit all the contract deliverables." And he said, "No, that's not what I asked. Did you do a quality job that's representative of Strivento work? Or did you just hit deliverables? Would you have paid for the rest of that video?" I sat back and I said, "No, there were definitely some misses. I still think we delivered what we said we were going to deliver, but it wasn't the quality of excellence that my business partner and I knew we had to hit to be successful." And he said, "Okay, you have two options because they're not in the US, so we're not going to go after them, especially if you don't think that the quality of product is representative of us. So you can either go sit down there in the corner and cry your eyes out, or you can get back to work, go get some more contracts." I said, "Okay, we're gonna get back to work." And throughout it was a blessing. We didn't have to sacrifice not paying employees. And we've always made sure to pay employees and contractors, but it was just a reminder of the industry we're in and the quality of excellence that is desired upon. That story has to be told without you in the room. And if that excellence and quality is not there without you in the room telling people about it, selling people at it, then you haven't made it. You haven't hit the mark. I'll tell you what, that was a big learning experience. So yeah, that's one of many, but it was a quick one. It was early on in the company. So fail
Y-
forward, right?
Yeah, and the early ones are the ones that sometimes sting the most.
Oh, Yeah, it's that analogy he mentioned. He was like, "Sometimes you just feel like that tattered war horse, like you're just still charging into battle, but you have a spear on your side, your eyes dangling out, and you're just still galloping into battle." Yeah, there's those moments for sure. But then there's other moments where it's the staffing model. Man, that's tough in the agency world because everybody wants to do the marketing tactics. Everybody wants to do the fun social posts and the blogs and the content and the writing and the websites and all the things that are sexy and fun. But then when you throw this word of accountability to results, to business growth, that's the A word nobody wants to hear. They want to be content in knowing, like, well, I designed this. This is a piece of art. Yeah, I didn't drive any business though. So we have to be better. So I think it's understanding the right type of person for that. And when I was hiring early on, I'm just excited, right? So I'm casting vision. I'm telling people this is a company, and then they get here and they're like, I don't know if I like this. And I was like, but you signed up for, like, we went through it. So now, like, in interviews, I just sandbag the whole time. Like, they're like, "Is Strivena a great place to work?" I was like, "Yeah, it pays the bills. It's boring. You might like it. I don't know." Like, I just started sandbagging. And then when they make it to the next round or whatever, and we hire them, I've had 2 people tell me like, "This is fun. Why would you say this is not fun?" I was like, "No, it's a blast here." But I was just tired of hiring people because I inadvertently get them pumped up about something and not know it. So those are like little hiring tricks they don't teach you about. Okay, like you gotta know who you are first in order to temper expectations, build the right team. And again, we've been blessed with the right people that have come to the table too, right? We have a great leadership team, great core. It's taken a while to get there, of course. Didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, I think no great things are built overnight, as they say.
My
So
favorite analogy is like when the agencies are like, oh, we have a kegerator in the break room and you can bring your dog. That creates great culture. And you're like, no, that creates people being mad at your dog for peeing on the carpet and somebody getting drunk at 3 PM. Like, no, like you can have those things, but if a client is paying us, like they're stroking a check and saying, "Hey, we trust you with this money." Do you think they want to hear about that? Or do you think they want to hear about like the KPIs you're crushing, right? The 10x that you're helping them achieve? No, I'd much rather the latter, right? You
for
can have
sure.
fun times, don't get me wrong, but maybe I don't know, maybe I'm boring, who knows? But those fun times come, but it doesn't define the culture, right? Culture is defined by the mission, values, people, and the product that you do. They believe in what you're doing. So anyway,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And Ryan, there's always that awkward stage where revenue's growing, then fulfillment has to keep up, and then sales is at capacity. So for you, what broke first in that mix, and how did you fix
man, you got some great questions here, some tough ones. I like it. I think it's understanding, especially with me doing the sales and the contracts on the front end. There's a difference between going to the team with a signed contract, hey, you got to do this. Because if you have the right team, they'll respect it and they will. But it requires more of a servant leader approach to understanding where's our capacity at, what's the team communicating, what's the hangups, and not just trying to force contracts for revenue. Right. And so I think that's the realization of some of those bottlenecks is like, we have like our partner contracts, which are the full managed services agreement. Right. So we're doing everything in our flywheel for them, everything. I had signed clients on that were maybe half of those services because I knew in their space with their online presence, they would still generate great results. But as we looked at it and as we again were empowered with the right team that stepped up, like our VP and our content manager now, it's understanding the same amount of hours went into fulfilling those contracts as the full ones. And not knowing it at the time, but understanding and tracking and time tracking all this, like really being open to that data challenging you. We actually decided that a lot of those half MSAs were not a good fit anymore and we had to part ways. And those aren't easy conversations to have, especially as a business owner when you're like, hey, I'm going to lose revenue. But it's honoring the craft of what you're doing with the team you have doing it with and desiring those excellent results and then scaling up in that way, right? Because it's not that the team was opposed of any of these clients, like they were still good clients, but it was this constant iron sharpening iron of who's our best type of client and why. We're spending the same amount of resources, but because we're only doing half the flywheel, we're charging half. But it's more than that, right? It's the same strategy time. It's the production time might be a little different. It might be half the content, but the same strategic thought, the same answering emails after hours, answering calls after hours. Like it's the same thing. So out of integrity of the process, like we cannot shortchange our partners, which we never did, but Again, if you try to scale up with two different types of ideal customers like that, there is that potential. So we try to cut it off before it got there. But again, it's a difficult decision when you realize your own impediment is your own sales and service process. You're like, "Oh, okay, so we have to really dig back in and understand how are we delivering service, right? Because I could have gotten frustrated and just been like, no, we got to fulfill these contracts. It's revenue, guys. Come on. But I don't think a servant leader would subscribe to that. And I'm not suggesting I'm the best, but I am suggesting like that's a goal we try to strive for here, servant leadership. Certainly we fail and certainly we're human, make mistakes. But if you don't have that North Star guiding you, everything else is going to crumble. So I think that was a hard look for me because I wanted to scale up with revenue, right? And it was a
Mhm.
humbling look. And when you have the right people in place and you trust them, if I trust somebody to be my VP, if I trust somebody to be a content manager or director, that trust has to be in everything. It can't just be when I want it. So, yeah,
You almost had to take a couple steps back and then trust on
totally.
the path forward opening up for you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Ryan, I'm curious how you guys, at the level that you guys are at, the success that you've had inside of your agency, how are you guys leveraging AI to
Yeah, great question. AI is changing the game in a powerful way. Right now, we're leveraging it in terms of appearing for AI search results and Google's generative results that they started coming out with a couple years ago. They were testing, right? I think last year was a huge sweep of AI movement on Google's end. A lot of AI that they implemented was not good though. Like on the back end of Google My Business and Google Ads, they had automated updates that were flagging accounts that had been longstanding accounts for 5 years. And so that was a pain to work through, but understanding now in this new phase this year where they've continued to grow and leveraging it to the best of our ability on that end has been powerful with the way our websites are reporting and indexing and the way that we're growing sites. The AI generative results are just another SERP feature for our clients, which is great. And you can see the bump, where it started and where it is now. But then as you talk about ChatGPT and Grok and Gemini and all these other sources, people are going to that as a source of truth now. It's really transitioning in a big way. Has it hit all of our industry specifically, like healthcare and legal and all that? No, I think you're still getting more like top funnel searches in there, not necessarily like a near me search that's prevalent, but we're seeing the trends change. But ChatGPT, for instance, it's not just pulling from your site content. It's pulling from your accreditations. So I know some companies don't like the BBB because if there's a complaint, they have to resolve it, and it's usually one-sided against the business, right? They usually have to figure like, it's not as clean cut as it appears to be, but you have to adopt it because you have to have accreditations. Your reviews everywhere, ChatGPT is pulling in, right? The social signals, social posts, social authority, social engagement, they're pulling in. So what we're experiencing AI do is essentially turn search engine and optimization into search everywhere optimization. And that's where we have to be focused. So everything down to the amount of YouTube videos you're uploading, it's everywhere. And that is something that we have to continue to leverage towards, meaning we have to continue warning about it for our clients' benefit. But then internally, oh, it's great. I still am not a fan of AI content. I know some agency owners out there are thinking I'm some paranoid guy, but Google came out with an update last year that they didn't like a lot of the AI content. Now, a lot of that was spammy. A lot of it nowadays is more reformed. And then, of course, when Google has a product like Gemini, you always wonder, okay, if I adopt this product, they're going to rank us better, right? Because every time you adopt a Google product, like I even have a Google Pixel, right? Because I'm that paranoid. Like they're gonna know I have a Pixel and I support their business, so they're gonna rank my clients more, right? Uh, that's it. Boom, get a Pixel. No, they're a business, and so they want you to use Gemini. Is AI content making a change in that trend where you don't have to be as concerned about deranking or de-indexing? Probably. I think it's swinging there for sure. But it's changing the game. Like I love using it for internal tasks, organization, creative ideas. I'm not going to bust out blogs on it yet, though. I'm not going to bust out pivotal resources. Can you use it to refine though, or to give new ideas around it? Absolutely. Like I think people ask us, like, how do you find your ideas on what keywords to go after? First, you talk to your ideal customers and interview them. I'll tell you what, Starbucks gift card goes a long way for research. If you get on a call with an ideal customer and spend 30 minutes picking their brain, man, that's a great spend. But then taking that a step further and actually typing those searches into Google. I know it sounds elementary, but a lot of people focus on all these outside technology sources, but they don't actually see how Google's applying it. So like SEMrush and Ahrefs and Moz and all those sources we use, that's fine. But actually testing it out in Google is another way. And then obviously using ChatGPT and other AI generous searches to test out again is just another proof point. You just have to be mindful of it. It's definitely changing the game for sure. It's exciting, but it's scary how fast it's evolving on a monthly basis.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for sharing. What what are you most looking forward to this year inside the agency, given everything that we chatted about? AI, tech, your experience thus far.
Ooh, I hope this isn't like too specific to us. For us, on the agency side, like managed service partners are our bread and butter, and finding the right partners are great. We're really working on models to actually get skin in the game now, though, not just as like a monthly agreement, but rev share opportunities. We've had a couple of clients that we've helped scale up and competitors bought them out, which is exciting. Like I'm happy for them, but then we lose a client. And so now I got to hear from Lance, who's the business owner, how he's fishing every day around the nation. Like I'm happy for you, Lance. I really am. And if he listens to this show, I'm so happy for you. But man, like I loved working with you and I love growing your company and it was such a great partnership. And so you exited, right? And we lose a partner. So for us, it's like dialing in that model on the back end now of rev share. And then we have a product that through the 8 years or 10 years now of building on our own WordPress custom framework, not a theme, not a template, but really dialing in the sauce around that. We actually productized it. And so we can take any existing website, transform it in 7 days, design lift, launch it, and they're on a clean structure, no theme. It's all easy WordPress coded backend modules, a page builder on the backend for them too, but doesn't take away like no code bloat or anything. We've seen significant indexing results out of the gate. So I think it's more like inside baseball for us of what I'm excited for. So if that's okay, I said that. But that product has been like a game changer for our clients. And so now we get to offer it to everybody in a 7 day turn. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Two thoughts came to mind. One, in terms of starting with rev share agreements, is that something that you're thinking about already? It sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have to. We are at a place now where I very much see us as a consulting firm, right? That also does execution, not just tactical execution and strategy, but really understanding like P&Ls and understanding with our clients where they're at, where their constraints are. And we've had some clients that have been very transparent with us, which is a huge level of trust. But it also comes with a great responsibility. Like, I'm not going to look at your P&L just to see how much I can carve out. It has to be an ROI model because we're in it for the long haul. And so getting skin in the game, I think, is another way to show like, hey, here's what we normally charge. We can cut that down, but we want some rev share instead. And now we're vested with you. I guess it changes the motivation in some ways. Like, I think we still commit to excellence, but to know that we have some skin in the game for the long haul knows that kind of what we're building with them will go that step further. And then if there is an exit, like being a part of that, like that's great too. So I think that's really the next evolution. So we've started to have those conversations this past year. It's been over a year, but I've got a couple clients that have gone on like a bonus model and it's been fun and successful and all that. So now it's evolving into that rev share model, I think.
That's cool. That's powerful. I think that gives you longevity as the business growth consultant, not just the agency that's on like marketing the team. There's sirens going on here. I don't know if you can hear that.
Look, it's because the show's on fire. They called the fire department.
They
You're
call the fire
crushing it.
department.
You're crushing it, Chris. You're running the show, baby.
Let's go. It's burning down over here. And the product side, that is so cool, Ryan. Where can people find out more about either one of those offerings?
So our product is hyperdrivewp.com. And on there, it's a very easy process. So we have a flat rate per page count essentially. And so there's 3 different tiers that we would quote them into. It's purely based on page. If it's a 10-page site or a 20-page site versus a 50+ page site, the turnaround stays the same. And so hyperdrivewp.com shows some of our initial case studies. It's going to get built out more over the next couple months. And then we also have like affiliate program opportunities for people because that's the need, right? Is there's so many agencies that do great marketing work, but they usually outsource to design or developers, right? Just to have a website to grow. And so for us, it's like we really want to empower them with those tools foundationally to grow as well. And yeah, that's the product side of it. It's been a blast. Like I started reaching out to our clients and, hey, can you send a testimonial review? And I'm getting like cell phone videos of this product is great. Like our form fills went up in 2 weeks. And yeah, I can't promise that, but I can tell you if we're using your existing site traffic of a already, successful company, right? And we're helping it convert faster, better, easier. So it comes with a small redesign, more of a user experience redesign, but most people think it's a full redesign just because the level of detail into it. So that's one product. But then on striventa.com, that's our other side of it, right? For MSA and all that. And for anybody listening thus far, we do have a call to action on there for free cookies. So if you scroll down, it says, "Hey, not ready to commit, but you want some cookies?" And that's purely because my dad joke in me is accept my cookies, like online cookies, right? But you're actually going to get cookies delivered and they're good. So that's been a fun, like people don't believe it, right? They're like, I get texts from people that request, they're like, oh my gosh, the cookies came in. I was like, yeah, you requested them. But they didn't believe that like online could come to life, right? In that way. Is he really going to send me a box of cookies? Yeah, absolutely. It's fun.
That's so cool. I love cookies, by the way, so and I
Yeah, you
know
should get some. That's we wanna serve first. That's what we believe in. It's like, you gotta do it, and, yeah, you need to go get the cookies.
anyone that's listening, let's get the cook. And this has been super fun chatting with you. Thank you for taking the time out and sharing your experience, your wealth of knowledge. Thank you so
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I'm honored to be on the show, and it was just fun to chat for a bit, so I appreciate the time and the expertise and allowing me to share.
Not a problem.